Welcome back to Homegrown. This is Eccles and Barnes, actually, in the
drum room. In the booth.
Rhinoceros Recording Studios. Jim, the band you've got together for the up-and-coming tour, they're quite seasoned players, or most of them are.
Hello, Mark.
Would you perhaps like to go through and talk about the players?
Yes. Well, start off, say the drummer, Tony Brock, who actually played on Working Class Man album. He played on the Working Class Man, that track, and also American Heartbeat. He used to work with Jonathan Cain in the Babies before that for about 6 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a great drummer, and he's been with Rod Stewart for about the last 6 years. So, you know, he's definitely got the experience, and he's just like a real powerhouse. He's a killer. English drummer, you know, he's sort of, they got that sort of, I don't know, something about English drummers. They play on the backbeat or something, I don't know.
That feel,
yeah, so it's great. Got him, and then Chris Bailey, who's well-known here, you know, played in the Angels for a long time, played in Ganga Jang, you know, he's a well-known bass player, he sings well. So those two have, over the last couple of weeks of rehearsals, started really gelling well, and it's, you know, it's going to be quite a formidable rhythm section, I think.
And you got the engine working.
It's starting to really cook now, like the last few nights of rehearsals have just been really pumping. Keyboards is Peter Kickel, who's, you know, been with me for a couple of years and with Swanee before that, and I did Good Times and all that sort of stuff. He's just a maniac. You know? What can you say about Peter? You know, he's a bloody maniac, but we love him. The guitar players, I have two. The first one, Dave Amato, who actually did a tour with me in, I think, '85. He's been playing for the last 6 years with Ted Nugent, I think, Gonzo King. King Gonzo, as we know. So, you know, like Dave's like another very seasoned player who happens to sing well as well. And the last player, I think Eccles could probably tell you more about than I do. It's Mark Lizotte, Johnny Diesel, who's, you know, like a young band from Perth. Is that where they're from originally? Yeah, from Perth, who I got word of when they came over here that they were really good. I think actually, you know, Brent might have mentioned that they were good at one stage, and then he was sorry because I was trying to steal him ever since. But Mark's, you know, like a fantastic natural player. He's just, you know, he's a killer, really exciting player, and he sings well too. But I had to do a bit of a deal with him because he has his own band, the Johnny Diesel and the Injectors, and they're solidly working on a career of their own, but I managed to talk him into, if I bring him on as opening act for the tour, which is great because they're a great band, plus he gets to play on my set. So I just hope he can do 2 gigs a night. He guarantees me he can do it.
Well, you have to find out.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will.
But yeah, you probably know more about that than me, right?
Because the other band you have on the concert dates...
Noiseworks. Yeah, well, Noiseworks, I've known like Stuart for a long time. I don't know the other guys, but you know, I think they're... I love the No Lies single, and I've got the CD, the album, and, you know, it sounds great. You know, Mark Opitz tells me he thinks they've got a hell of a lot of potential, and I think they're, you know, by judging by their radio success, just, you know, mild radio success they've had, that the, you know, people like them, you know.
Yeah, sure, they're
a good band.
The vibe out there,
yeah. So it seems to be a good package. The whole, like, because they're all rock and roll bands, you know. There's no
Freight Train.
No Cliffords, yeah. Did I say that?
Where did the title Freight Train Hearts come from?
One of the songs on the album that I wrote with Jonathan is called Still on Your Side. And there's a line in the song that says, sometimes I feel like shouting, it's a freight train in my heart. It's like a freight train in my heart. And I thought the title, like, I came up with Freight Train Heart, and I thought, oh, it's, you know, it's interesting, you know, it sort of has, you know, different, you know, connotations, like the power thing, you know, the jumping on, you know, freight trains, you know, the roaming gypsy sort of thing.
Yeah, well, that's what it does. That's what sets all that,
you know, so it's got quite, you know, it's, you know, good imagery, I guess.
Yeah.
What about Too Much Ain't Enough Love?
That song originally had a feel like Heard It Through the Grapevine. Right. And we were writing it, working on it I've had the title for ages. I was actually going to give it to Malcolm Eastic for Shauna, because I thought Shauna would be, you know, it'd be great to write a song about that, you know, and Shauna built one of them out. But it didn't happen anyway. So luckily I came up with the title in America, and they all went, yes, we'll use that, thank you. So it was actually written by Jonathan, Neil Sean and myself, Tony Brock, and Randy Jackson. They were all the guys that played the nucleus of the San Francisco band.
Right.
So I think it's a great song. It's a very unusual feel for you know, Australian music in general, I think, but it's also very, very bluesy. I thought it was more in context with, the Stevie Raids, the Robert Cray, or that sort of vibe that's happening on the radio. Yeah. And being the first single off the album, I wanted to, have as broad an appeal as possible, so I picked it. It's the whole album isn't obviously a soul album. It's
sure.
It's a standout track as far as that goes. It's definitely a hard rock album.
FM, we got your homegrown rock and roll in stereo. That's Jimmy Barnes. The 12-inch of Too Much Ain't Enough Love, and that Freight Train Heart Tour is going to rumble into town to the Entertainment Centre at the end of this month, the 29th, 30th of November, and the third show is December 3rd. Now, Eccles, while we're waiting with bated breath to see it, you've been lucky enough to be up in Sydney and catch a couple of the shows, yeah?
That's right. They've been actually playing some warm-up gigs at Dapto Leagues, which is about an hour and a half south of Sydney.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, I the first show I saw, I stood in the audience and I just grinned from start to end, because when you see a rock and roll band really fire,
yeah,
and that you just sort of this rock and roll personified. That was happening. They had about 5 or 6 songs. I couldn't believe it. And then the next night wasn't quite as good. Then the third night that I saw was absolutely brilliant. They just, I don't know, they cooked. And there's a few surprises in it. They bring on, they have been bringing on the sax player from Johnny Diesel for one song.
Right.
And Tony Brock, the drummer, plays like a
man possessed.
Yeah, with 10 arms. And Chris Bailey, like it's after Gangajang, I don't know, and going to Barnes, it makes you wonder. But he's all over the stage. And 2 guitar players, Johnny Diesel's playing fantastically, and Dave Amato, who's Ted Nugent's guitar player.
Right.
They just work so well together, and sort of Peter Cackel provides that sort of carpet of keyboards, and Barnes, he's just singing so well. I mean, don't miss it. That's all I can say. Don't miss it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, tickets you can get for the third show through all Bass outlets, or if you're one of the, say, first 4 calls through on 6990923, we've got a double pass for you to go along and see the concert, plus a copy of the 12-inch, of which we got to hear quite a few of those live tracks from too. And it's a good triple bill, Eccles, too, because
it's a great one. Yeah, Johnny Diesel and the Injectors and Noiseworks. And here's the new single from Noiseworks, remixed, a few bits recorded. Welcome to the world, Noiseworks.
We got Homegrown Small Talk coming up pretty soon, and Indie Vinyl.
Oh, the dirt.
Oh, the dirt.